Grand Prix at Monza, only on ITV. James Allen and Louise Goodman are in the pits, poised in the commentary box, Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
Monza is always a pressure cauldron of excitement and enthusiasm, and it certainly is here today. The atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. There is a gigantic crowd here. They came here to see a Ferrari win, like they got from Michael Schumacher last year. It's looking a bit doubtful that they're going to get it today, because Michael Schumacher is down there in 14th position on the grid, and he went very badly today, did Michael Schumacher. He's in 9th position on the grid, my apologies. But he's got a tremendous fight to get to the front. In front of him, he's got his brother, he's got Gerhard Berger, he's got the installation lap, the formation lap. Everybody seems to be getting away well here. It's into the Rettifilio and onwards.
The blue smoke you can see as the cars pull away in the background, that is not from the engines, that is from lighting up the rear tyres, using that opportunity to keep some temperature in the rear tyres.
And this historic circuit, which was first used for the Italian Grand Prix in 1922, has been comparatively little changed. They're going underneath the old banking now and onto the Ascari bends, which is one of the changes which has been instituted since it was originally built. And those Ascari bends that you're looking at now lead into the 205 mile an hour run down to the world famous Parabolica. And that's
it's quite misty and cloudy up there, and they mustn't leave a big gap to the car in front and do a smoking practice start. That's against the regulations. Keep those semi-warm tyres as dust-free as they can.
Alesi on the right, Frentzen on the left, 4, 5, go! Alesi looks good, Eddie Irvine coming out to the left, and up alongside Alesi comes Frentzen, but sprinting through on the inside, the McLaren.
Great start there from David Coulthard, I think, from 6th on the grid straight into 3rd place. Nobody's tripped over at the moment. All the front wings are intact. Somebody taking Verstappen, I think, taking a shortcut. No major drama there for him. It's quite smooth through that part, and they're into the Curva Grande, Murray.
Yeah, Jos Verstappen took the line that Villeneuve took last year, but it's Alesi leading. Frentzen is 2nd. David Coulthard is 3rd. Fisichella has been pushed down a place. They go into the Roja, and over the curves goes Jarno Trulli in the Prost. That's lost in several places. You can see the traffic. They into the Lesmos. No change, Fisichella, and in 5th position it is Jacques Villeneuve, so he has lost a place, and David Coulthard is the man who took it.
Yes, I think that was truly putting a move on Damon Hill, and Hill losing the places there at the 2nd chicane. We'll see when they come past the start-finish line for the first time, but at the moment it all looks very under control.
And very good for Jean Alesi. He's where he wants to be at the start of the race, at the front. Another super start. He's got a gap between himself and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So it's Benetton leading, Williams 2nd, McLaren 3rd, Jordan 4th, Michael Schumacher having a look at Mika Häkkinen as they go into the Parabolica for the first time, and they're going to do it 52 times more. Now this is where they're building up to 200 miles an hour before they get to the double chicane at the Rettifilio. Alesi is 1 second already ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen. There is the leader, and you can see that Frentzen is being crowded by Coulthard, who is being crowded by Fisichella, who has got Villeneuve right behind him. Michael Schumacher, who started 9th on the grid, is up into 7th position at the expense of Gerhard Berger. So this is the Roja. Now Jean Alesi has got a heavy fuel load on. You heard him say earlier on that he's going to be pacing himself in the car to make sure that it's in a good state at the end of the Italian Grand Prix. And behind him, thick is building.
Another bad start was Ralf Schumacher. That was enabled Michael to take the 2 places. Berger, as you rightly say, and Ralf Schumacher dropping back to 11th position. So not a great start from him. All the other Jordan Fisichella, he lost a place too to David Coulthard. And well, we now settle down to see what kind of race strategy they're running.
And you can see the gap already between the leaders and the people who are in the last 2 places. Tasso Marquez and Ukko Katayama in the V8 powered Minardis. tremendous pass advantage into the parabolica for the second time. Things are getting a bit spread out already, and hopefully he hasn't dislodged any stones onto the track, which would make things very difficult for other people.
Lost the rear end as he was coming down through the gears and collected it up. He will have taken gravel onto the track, absolutely without question. And then when he brakes for the second chicane, another barrel load will come flying out through the radiator duct. So the drivers will find that next time round. Here's Coulthard again getting close to Frentzen at the end of the straight. If you read the warm-up, to answer your question about strategy, Murray, if you read the warm-up times, you could say the McLarens were definitely two stopping and the Williams were definitely one stopping. Demand him to pull over contractually, we just don't know.
I think not, actually, Martin, to be fair, but we'll tell as we watch Frentzen and Coulthard battling for second position. They were actually a bit quicker, 0.2 of a second faster than Lacey on the previous lap, as we look now at Ukyo Katayama with the Hart V8 engine in it.
Yes, as we thought, they're waving their arms. He's done some suspension damage there. The suspensions are incredibly strong in the way in which they work, in the way the loads are designed to be transmitted, but knock them in any other way and they just break like an egg. As I said at the start of the show, it's incredible how weak they appear. You could walk up to that car with your foot and break all four suspensions on it just by putting load in the wrong direction, and whacking it against the barrier is not the right way to treat it.
So lap 11, out goes Katayama. He's the second retirement. There are 20 cars and drivers left. The other one, the retirement, is Deniz. So one Arrow's out, one Minardi out. Down the start and finish straight at 200 miles an hour, coming towards us, John Lacey, and he goes through to start his 13th lap very shortly. In fact, he's into it now, and you can see his 12th lap, and you can see the gap well. You can see all the tarmac between himself and this battle. We're back with Coulthard again. Push
thousands of times, so I don't think he's under too much pressure, particularly as Frentzen and Coulthard cannot make, well, it's 1.9 seconds now. They're keeping him on his toes, but they can't cruise up to the back of him. If they do, then I think you'll see Jean jumping over the curbs and getting close to making mistakes.
Well, it's 20 now in this 53-lap race, and Michael Schumacher has got a battle on his hands to get into the points and to stop Gerhard Berger getting past him. Frentzen, there, second position. David Coulthard still behind him. Look back, and you might have seen Giancarlo Fisichella, but you didn't, because the gap is now 4 seconds between these two battling.
It's going to be one on the pit wall.
Now, talking about the World Championship, Jacques Villeneuve, who is currently on 2 points in 5th position, is 11 points behind Michael Schumacher, is 1 place out of the points at the present moment. I am frankly going to be mildly surprised if all the top 6 people now finish in those positions at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher might well move up into the points, but at the present the gap is reduced by just 2 points, and at the end of the race, if things stay as they are now, and I don't suppose, and into the pit lane, 55 miles an hour, and James Allen.
Yes, they're going to put a set of scrub tyres on, which is a set that Frentzen's already used. I'm looking for blistering, and again for the smoke coming off. They're red hot, those discs. The Real are getting in an awful lot of use this weekend. Just look at the smoke pouring out of the side. The fuel in a little bit slower. Well, in fact, a little bit faster, 10.3. So now the question is, what about Lacey? When's he coming in?
Well, now the question is that Mika Häkkinen has really, now that he's got a clearer track in front of him, he's pulled the bung out. 4th position, 1 minute 25.5 seconds. That's the fastest lap of the race. He's up into 4th position behind Fisichella. You just saw them there. No.
And Lacey's going to peel off to the right, we think. And so does Coulthard. Coulthard follows him in. That's a bad news for David, because unless McLaren can turn him around quicker than Lacey, and they have to obviously start the game about a second behind, then he's going to still be behind Lacey when they exit the pits. A critical stop here. No, the McLaren's away first. They clearly had more fuel in the car. As we talked about earlier, they needed to take less fuel on in that pit stop. A crucial move. and great strategy. That's put the McLaren out ahead of the Benetton.
Yeah, and Mika Häkkinen is in the lead, and Eddie Line in the Ferrari scrambles with the Rettifilo ahead of the McLaren. Ralf Schumacher is in the pits from 10th position. We're on lap 33 now. Mika Häkkinen has still got to come in. Michael Schumacher is up into second place ahead of Gerhard Berger third. The first three have yet to stop. David Coulthard is in fourth position and is the top driver actually to have made a stop. And in fifth position is Jean Alesi. Now, last year, Michael Schumacher won the race, as I said earlier, on the pit stop when he got ahead of Alesi. Could the same thing happening again? Because Alesi's stop was not as good as that of David Coulthard, as a result of which he's lost the place.
Well, Coulthard's ahead of Alesi, and I think Alesi is still ahead of Frentzen. So when this all shakes out, Coulthard should be leading this race. The guy who may gain most, because Coulthard there is stuck behind the Ferrari and had a bad outlap, the guy who may gain most, Mika Häkkinen, I predict he's going to be screaming out of the pits, trying to join the middle of this leading pack.
Now, Schumacher won last year because in 2-lap gap between Alesi coming in and Schumacher coming in, he put in 2 bloody quick laps. Mika Häkkinen is doing the same thing. His 33rd lap, as we watch Eddie Irvine in the pits from 8th position. Mika Häkkinen's 33rd lap was the fastest we've had so far, 1 minute 25.3, and that is 0.8 of a second faster than the previous lap record. And there is race leader Mika Häkkinen.
Well, this is a bad lap for him, bad timing there. He's got some traffic, and just when, if he had a good in-lap and a good out-lap, I think he could take the lead of this race. But look, he's got held up in the traffic. It's going to cost him 2 seconds now. Everybody backs off, everybody's over-cautious, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. That's a disaster. All of his brilliant effort in the last 2 laps to do those new fastest laps of the race has just been lost behind one car in one part of the racetrack.
It's Morbidelli in him, and the Italian is in 15th place behind.
And Häkkinen having a wobble around the outside there, and he's lost so much time. Look, that's a very bad in-lap. That could have cost him this Grand Prix.
And in comes the McLaren Mercedes. Mika Häkkinen, race leader. Schumacher is about to go into the lead, but he's yet to stop. This is quite incredible. Michael Schumacher goes over the line now, and Mika Häkkinen rejoins after that 9.2 seconds. So Michael Schumacher's pit stop is again going to be absolutely crucial, as Gerhard Berger takes a stop as well. And now everybody except Schumacher in the whole race has been in.
Well, I think I saw Häkkinen blending back in behind Villeneuve, roughly where he was before the pit stop started. He had a bad in-lap, a 9.2 second stop, longer than Coulthard. David Coulthard is going to be in this race handsomely anytime soon, and we know his car's fast when he's in clear air.
The man who won the Australian Grand Prix for McLaren Mercedes, the McLaren team's first win since the late great Ayrton Senna won in Australia in 1993. They've been very close to it several times this year. It looks as though they're going to be very close this year. There is David Coulthard. Michael Schumacher is 8 seconds up the road ahead of Coulthard, but as I said before, has yet to come in. Now, a pit stop here effectively takes about 21 seconds from entering the pit lane to leaving it. So there's going to be about a 13-second gap between Coulthard and Schumacher when he comes out. And here is Schumacher, James Allen.
Well, Murray, I expected to be 23 seconds. I reckon he's taking on 60 kilos of fuel because he put 90 on at the start. That's the strategy he used last year. It's the strategy he's using again this year. His pace wasn't hot enough in the first part of the race. He was running in the 27th, so it's difficult. But he's back out on the track. It's back to you, Murray.
I want to see as Michael Schumacher exits the pit lane. He's in 7th position.
I wonder if he was speeding when he went through the white line there. He had 2 attempts to stop. One of them was just after the white line. So let's hope he got away with that. If not, he's in for a 10-second stop and go. He's out of the equation for the rest of the afternoon if he does indeed have to do that.
And Coulthard goes through and laps Rubens Barrichello, and on lap 36 out of 53, David Coulthard has stopped and leads Jean Alesi by 1.8 seconds. Frentzen is third, Hakkinen is fourth, Fisichella is fifth, and Villeneuve is in sixth place.
Verloren, aber zumindest keinen Platz verloren hat. Aber Coulthard eindeutig der große Gewinner.
Because we're now on lap 39 out of 53. David Coulthard comfortable at the moment, 3 seconds ahead as past Johnny Herbert goes Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher in the Jordan, up to the Rettifino, and they hit, and Johnny Herbert goes off at terrific speed, but the gravel was slowed down, slams into the tyres. Well,
he's okay, he's getting out of the car. Horrible accident because he hadn't taken enough speed off. They touched wheels, Ralph probably pulling over onto line, not realising Johnny was still there.
Johnny Herbert on the outside, his front left wheel has already been totally deranged. Schumacher turns in, Johnny Herbert is now totally out of control, across the gravel trap, straight into the tyre wall, backwards. And that will have taken a lot of the impact. The same thing happened to Michael Schumacher in practice for the Belgian Grand Prix last year. I don't think you get any further than that because we're on lap 47 now, only 6 laps to go, including this one. And these are taking 1 minute 26 seconds as Hakkinen goes up to the Rettifino ahead of Trulli. This is where Schumacher and Johnny Herbert collided. No problem here. Mika Hakkinen is well ahead of the Prost as he lunges out of the Rettifino and sets about closing up on Damon Hill in the Arrows Yamaha. We expected them to do better than that, with Heinz-Harald Frentzen starting second on the grid, Jacques Villeneuve starting... has somebody gone off there? That's a big cloud. It looks as though that might well be an engine blow-up from the colour of the smoke, and indeed it is. It's Damon Hill in the Arrows out of the race he was in 9th position, but he's obviously had, from the look of it, an absolutely mammoth engine blow-up. The Yamaha has grenaded itself behind him, and he is out of the race. Well, they've been struggling to get more power and reliability. It's a fine balance, and they clearly failed on this occasion.
Well, I hope he's not tempted to walk across the track at that point. I think Damon is rather more sensible than that, but it's tempting to get back to the pits, but that's a very fast part of the racetrack, and you can see it now, just letting go, and you're pulling enormous revs, probably something like 15,000 RPM there, and so when you have a blow-up here, it's always a monumental blow-up.
As for the 53rd time, with a magnificent victory almost on him, David Coulthard exits the Parabolica, crosses the line, waves his arm and wins the Italian Grand Prix with Alesi second, Frentzen third, Fisichella fourth, Villeneuve in 5th position. Look back for Michael Schumacher, who crosses the line in 6th place to get a single World Championship point, and the World Championship gap between Schumacher and Villeneuve up to 10 points.
Well, 3 things allowed Coulthard to win this race: a fantastic, a faultless drive, and probably most importantly, the McLaren team turned him around quicker than the Benetton team, gave him track position, he had the faster car in clear air, and he made best use of it. A great win for Coulthard. Williams have let Michael Schumacher and Ferrari off the hook. Villeneuve taking...
David Coulthard from Scotland wins for McLaren, and I'm sure he'll get an excellent reception after a superb race.
Well, yes, he's had a rough run recently, leading to the time when he was waiting for his contract to be renewed, and really a difficult time for David to cope with. You tend to forget just how young he is on occasion, so this is a response to that, and clearly he's got a McLaren contract in his pocket for next year, some good races left this year, and he's on a roll, there's no doubt about it. Clearly he can well be the establishment in a few years to come, because Schumacher and Alesi, Gerhard Berger and people like that are not going to be around forever, and the likes of David Coulthard are very much the huge stars of the future. And